Alright everyone, welcome to a slightly different type of video today. So, as I've been playing the Jackbox games, I've been thinking it would be really cool if, you could if someone made them in real life. Of course, I realise, given how many there are, some of them probably won't work. So this video is just basically going to be me going through each of the games and saying whether or not I feel like they had game show potential. So, I've compiled together all games from a series, so you wouldn't have all the separate fibbages, for example. I've just reconciled that as just fibbage. So that's basically how it's going to work. Other than that, let's just get started on this. Starting with, of course, the first one, which is the most obvious one. You don't know Jack. So if it's going to be a bit laggy, I'm trying to deal with this as much as I can, but I can't really do much about that. But You Don't Know Jack, which of course actually had a version that was like an actual game show, but it didn't last very long, I don't think. But honestly, I still think it has game show potential. I feel like if someone tried to redo it again, they could definitely do it. Because it is the classic quiz show format, it's quite quirky as well, so it would be quite interesting. Personally, I would go for the classic Jack Attack at the end, not the full stream version. Although, I wouldn't mind seeing rounds from every single You Don't Know Jack. From, say, This or That, of course, being a staple. Maybe the binge pipe recommends from the full stream one could be cool. Gibberish questions probably should be in there. Just a different variation. Maybe even stuff like Roadkill from the ride one. It'll be up to the person to decide which ones they want. But yeah, I think this one has perfect game show potential. Up next, we have Fibbage, like I said. Fibbage, I think could work because it's similar to the Richard Osman Has Games round, which is and the answer isn't, which I think is possible to probably extend into a full show. But it would be sort of dynamic, and they would have to have the people submit the answers as it was going along, similar to how the phone game works. So the online game works, the actual game. I haven't included the Enough About You, so I'm going to quickly mention that. Pretty much Enough About You, I'm actually going to say has slightly less potential. In both forms it came in, both in Fibbage 3 and Fibbage 4. Weirdly enough, even though people didn't like it as much, the Fibbage 4 version is probably the more likely one to become the game show version if it was ever made, because just getting people to come up with the truth and lie is difficult enough to get people to play the game honourably with people. I would expect trying to get people run around with the public to write only true things is even harder, so they would probably end up to go for the Fibbage 4 version, which got rid of that last round and did more sort of formatted questions. But out of the two, Fibbage regular is definitely the more likely one. Up next, I think it's obvious. Oh, it's not obvious. The infamous one, Wordspud. I'm going to say right here, right now, no. Wordspud would not be a good game show. It is not a brilliant game to begin with. And in general, it probably wouldn't be very enjoyable as a game show, so I'm not going to dwell much more on that one. Lice Water could work. Let's go. What definitely could work is sort of a true or false game show. But once again, I feel like this might be one of those ones that the format might get old quickly. So it'd probably be like sort of just like a one series thing if it ever were a thing. But it definitely has potential, just maybe not lasting potential. Next is Drawful. This is a difficult one because there are of course multiple versions. We have the original, we have Drawful 2, we have Drawful Anime, and then Dirty Drawful from the Naughty Pack. Drawful 1 and 2, if formatted correctly, I think definitely could work. Drawful Anime, you might be pushing it a little bit for people because they would only draw 2 pictures, and I feel like people would prefer not doing that. So if it was to be one, they would probably go for more the other Drawful formats. And maybe they would probably be like an After Dark episode could be the Dirty Drawful sort of thing of slightly more risque prompts, basically. But this one doesn't have as much potential as some other ones, I think, on here. But it definitely could work if done correctly. Like, this is a possibly one. Next, Quiplash, another stable one. Quiplash has had multiple iterations. In terms of game show potential, though, I'm going to say not really. Because, but actually, maybe it could work. Because you could do it anonymously, and then everyone votes on which one they like better, and then they review who what. You say, yeah, that definitely would work. But which version would it be? Well, the first version just had like a final question for everyone. The second one had the 3 different endings: the acronym, the comic, or the word in the answer. And then what was Quiplash 3's one? I think that went back to just a prompt for everyone. Anyway, that was the triple answer one. You wrote 3 parts. I would say probably. I actually don't know on that. If knowing how the media works, though, if they were to turn Quiplash into a game show, they'd probably go for the most recent iteration, so it probably would be the triple answer one. That's what I'm going to say. It definitely has potential. I've changed my mind. It definitely does have potential. But again, maybe not as much as, Jack of Image. Idiots. Idiots. I'm going to say this one wouldn't work very well. Because, of course, a lot of these probably would work in a game show format. But again, similar to Lie Swatter, I feel like this one will probably get old quickly as a game show. Like, the first, series probably would be quite funny. Like, seeing people bidding on stuff and trying to psych each other out. But I don't really think it would last more than one series. But again, I would say yes, it has potential, but not lasting potential. Bomb Corp. This is the first one which I'm going to say this one is a slightly different format. So I'm going to say probably not a game show in the sense of like a panel game show, but could definitely work in sort of an escape room type game show. Or just like, those game shows that like bring in a bunch of 4 people and they have to do the challenges in the episode. That's probably what this would be, Bomb Corp. Of course, it would be based more on the story mode, I'd assume, rather than the grind. But this one has to be done correctly, I would say. I'm not saying it has potential, it just, in very specific circumstances, it could work. But isn't, like, up there. Next, Earwax. So, this is a family favourite with my family, just because we like the funny noises. But I'm going to say in this case, this will feel too much like the normal game, so I'm going to say no. Earwax probably wouldn't work as a game show because it would just be the party game, but in a studio, probably. However, they could change the format of it, that instead of you getting noises that you had to pick between, you'll probably change into one of just you have to make the noise yourself. So this is probably, the concept could work, but it would change drastically. So next, faking it. I'm going to say, since there's shows like, there have been shows where people have had to lie about stuff, so I'm going to say yes, this one probably yes. Faking it and the faking it all night long one, of course being an after dark thing again, it would just be a pretty similar to the party game of they get given a question in a certain category, and you have to weed out who's lying. Sort of like a traitors style thing, but of course not like the traitors, but like just basically guess who's, sort of like Trapped style, if you remember that show. But I would say yes, this one definitely has potential. TKO. Again, I think this format works better as a party game and wouldn't work well as a game show. Of course, on any of these, if any YouTuber sees this and wants to prove me wrong on any of these ones I'm saying no for, or wants to make any of these into game shows, I would be so happy to see it, and possibly even let me know about it, because that would be quite cool to see. But TKO, I don't think the format would work well, so I'm going to say no on this one. Espionage, this is another probable definite yes, and would probably work similar to how it works normally. That they would probably remake some questions, interview a bunch of people, and you had to guess the percentage, like in the actual thing, and then the last round would also work of these were the top 9 answers, and you had to pick the top 3. So this one, not sure much more to say. It will work pretty much the same as way, and I think it definitely has potential as being a game show. Trivia Murder Party. Again, actually, this one, the concept would work well as a game show, but would definitely need a lot of production value to make convincing murder rooms. Because, like, quite a few of them would probably just work as a, instead of doing it on your phone, you're doing it on physical things. But there are some that would be a bit awkward, like some of the gifts probably wouldn't work well in real life, so I might have to alter some of those. And the finger cutting one, I'm not sure how that would actually work, but in general as a concept, I'm going to say yes. This one is a probable definite. Bracketeering. I'm going to say it would be a decent idea, but like, again, I don't think this is going to work, really. But it definitely could work if done right, so it's going to be in the sort of category of could be done right, but not in its current format, I'm going to say. Definitely would be a fun one to see, actually, if done correctly. Probably would have to be a bit more like fixed in formats to make sure people don't put stupid answers too often. Like they probably allow like one stupid answer, but if they have people just constantly not putting serious answers, then they probably have to be a bit more strict on it. Survive the internet. Thinking about this one. This one again is going to be a difficult one to replicate because since it's a party game done on phones and computers, that's how it works quite well. But as a game show, it will probably again feel too much like the party game. So I'm gonna say no. Survive the Internet probably wouldn't work. Like I said, if you want to prove me wrong, prove me wrong. Civic Doodle. This one I feel like is a definite no. Civic Doodle is sort of a forgotten one, and equally, the format would be very difficult to replicate because you would have to figure out a way to keep drawing parts of drawings but not other parts of drawings, and do the naming sort of thing as well. Yeah, I don't think this one would work very well. Next one, Monster Seeking Monster. This might be a shock. I'm going to say yes on this one. Monster Seeking Monster definitely could work. This one will probably be more of a traitor style sort of show. That like you'll get given your role, you'll be told what you can do with it. Probably had to be altered a little bit for some of them, but this one would definitely be a cool one to say of people trying to psych each other out and try to pull each other for their own gain or the detriment of others, and then seeing who wins at the end. So this one I'm going to say not necessarily a game show, more of like a more active show, but definitely has potential. Split the Room. Again, this one might not be the best game show concept-wise, but I feel like could work if done right. You had to come up with some decent scenarios. You would have to figure out a way to make sure people don't like try to meta play the game and try to be like, oh, what did you pick? If I pick this, it means he doesn't get a split and it means I win. So they probably have to have some regulations during it, but definitely has potential if done right. Mad vs. City. I would say again, this would be similar to like roast battles or like a lip sync battle. It would probably be a battle sort of show, and it would be basically how the game works of coming up with sort of like diss track verses, like diss track-esque verses against each other, and it would probably have to be on the fly. I don't know if they'd be able to force the startings of lines, but this probably would work as a concept, but would change drastically. Of being more just you had to come up with 4 bars on the fly against a random person. Up next, Patently Stupid. This one, again, would have to be regulated quite a bit, but could work. Patently Stupid would be it would be a different, interesting one to see, and it probably would work similar to the game, but like I said, would have to be regulated a little bit to make sure people don't like try to metagame it. But it would be interesting to see people going up and presenting wild ideas to fix made up problems. So I think this one definitely has potential, but has to be done right. Sequel Dome. This one, I'm going to say right here, right now, is a definite no. They were trying a different format with Zeeble Dome, and I appreciate that from Jackbox. They tried to branch out into different types of games, but in sort of game show potential, no. Zeeble Dome is completely out of the question. By the way, I'm only doing this because I saw it in one of their poll things, like sort of a survey thing. They said which ones would be good game shows, so I'm just going to explain my reasoning. I don't remember what I put, but I'm going to explain what I'm thinking now. Push the button. Similar to Faking It and Monster Seeking Monster, this would be a more active show, but definitely would work. A lot of people call this the sort of a different version of Among Us, which I can see what they mean, but this one will definitely work. It's similar to a sort of trap style as well. Basically, instead of having a phone, of course, they'll probably like be told in an earpiece or something. You are one of the aliens to keep the sort of mystery before they go in. That if you're a contestant on the show, you don't know if you're going to be an alien until you're on the show, so you can't like prepare for it. So this one would definitely work, and I would love to see it. And of course, if someone finds this video, I'm going to say right now, I'm perfectly in for if I can make it, figure out a way to make it there, I'll be totally down to be in these. Role models. Role models, I don't know if this would work. Role models I don't think would work, really. Because this one would have to be between people who know each other. And it doesn't really feel like a game show format if it has to be people who know each other. Because you're not really battling out for any sort of gain. Because when I'm thinking game show, I'm thinking of like having a winner who gets a prize. And that doesn't really make sense for role models, so I'm going to say no for this one. Dictionarium. This one is going to be a probably not for me, but could if done right. Might be in that category of could be done right, but probably quite difficult to do right. Because it is just submitting answers constantly, so it probably actually be in the category of be too similar to the original game. So yeah. Joke boat probably could actually work, actually. They could probably do the setups as well. They basically say, right, here's your setup, come up with a joke on the fly. Like picking out a random thing to fill in the gap and then having to come up with the rest of the joke on the fly. So I think, unlike Mad vs. City, when you had to have 4 separate cases of trust, this is only once per round, so probably easier to regulate and probably more likely. So yeah, I think this one definitely could work. Devil's in the details. Again, this is a slightly different format. I'm going to say, in terms of watchability, this is probably another definite no. This one doesn't really work as a game show. So yeah, I'm going to say no on this one. The format is too different from TV shows, so it wouldn't really work. Champed Up. This one would be a bit awkward as well to try and figure out. So I'm going to say this is in the category of could work if done right. But it would be very like faffy to do. Don't really know much more to say about this one. Blather Round. Again, doesn't really work outside of a mobile game, so this would be too similar to the mobile game. I keep saying mobile game, I mean party game. So this one could work, but would be too similar to the original game that some people might get bored easily. Talking points. There was this show that was comedians give presentations, and I think that they didn't get to see what the presentations were before they gave them. So I would say this one will definitely work, of giving people a presentation came up with by their other contestants, and they randomly assigned their PowerPoint maker as well. So yeah, I think this one definitely could work. Talking points definitely could work as a game show, but specifically the normal mode, not the free play mode. Pole Mine. This one's an interesting one. Weirdly enough, I feel like the streamer mode would be more likely to be the one they will base it off of, because it will be more sort of Family Feud, Family Fortunes-esque, rather than, again, having to trust the contestants to answer honestly. But I'm going to say that the original format would also probably work, but would have to go in with an element of trust. But definitely could work, because it's basically trying to psych out the other team. But maybe even combining people and not telling them what team they're on until they're there, so they can't prepare anything again. Wheel of Enormous Proportions. Yeah, this one definitely could work. It would sort of be like a trivia show mixed with the wheel on Price is Right, basically. And then, of course, have the thing of when you get past a certain amount of points, you then get a chance of spinning the winner wheel to actually win the show. So it's all luck based. So this one definitely could work, I think. Weapons Drawn. Again, this is a sort of different format of a game. So I'm going to say this one is unlikely again. Would have to be done right, but then again, probably would be too similar to the party game that it might get boring quickly. Job. This one doesn't really work as a game show in my head, because there's no way to get people to. Sort of like Blather Round. It works specifically on specific types of sentences. In Blather Round, it's with the words you've been given, and in JoJo, it's the words you've been given. And of course, that would probably make it feel too much like the game, because you wouldn't be able to read it out yourself, because people would try and weasel in some other words that they wanted. So this one, yes, with regulation, probably. I know I said no, but it's probably yes with regulation. Roomerang, I'm going to say yes on this one. Roomerang definitely would be funny to see. I feel like it is one of the more underrated ones. It is basically just competitive improv, which I think would definitely work really well as a TV show. So much more else to say. I think the format would be quite similar to the game, and just probably would be quite fun to see. So up next, non-sensory. So people say that, of course, this game is very similar to Wavelength. So do I think Wavelength could be a show? Yes, I think non-sensory definitely would work as a show. We're trying to get on the wavelength of other people with their answers, basically. But again, with the drawing round and the writing round, actually, there would, of course, again have to be some sort of no, you can't do that, for people trying to just write my one's a 9, or drawing a 9 or a 7 on their drawing or something. Junktopia, not the most popular game, but I could definitely see this working in a similar format to Patently Stupid, but in the sort of sense of they don't get to pick what they're presenting, they're just presenting random pieces of junk. So it definitely could work in a similar format to Patently Stupid, I would say. Quicksort, trivia game, which gives it a sort of leg up. So Quicksort, say yes, definitely. Or basically sorting things in order. It'll be interesting to see what they can come up with putting in order. So Quicksort, yes, definitely, I would say. Especially the team mode again, not the endless mode. Dodo Re Mi, again, is a different format. So this is Evil Dome, so this is a definite no. And much more is to say about that. Fixie Text. Fixie Text is an interesting one. Fixie Text probably wouldn't really work, because again, it's a very different format of game. And I don't really know how it really works in general, to be honest. I haven't really played that often. But from what I've played in it, it doesn't feel like it would work, so I'm going to say no on this one. Hypnotorious, again, not really played very many rounds of this. I actually don't think I've played this one yet at all because I haven't got the people. But Hypnotorious, from what I know, is you had to figure out who's in the same category as you, and you're hypnotized to answer as a object or a person or an animal or something. So I guess again I'm going to say this one's with regulation, yes. Time Jinx trivia game, so and probably easily transferable into a game show. So Time Jinx, I'm going to say yes. And not sure what else to say. And then Let Me Finish. This is the last one, I think. Ironically, no, actually, there's one more after this. Let Me Finish, being the one from the Naughty Pack. I would say it's going to be similar to ones I said earlier on, that it would probably work for one series, but probably would get old quickly. But also for these ones where I'm saying would be fun for one series and might get old quickly, if you want to prove me wrong on those ones and make them into actual game show things on YouTube and show that they're more fun and last more than a few episodes, then yeah, prove me wrong. And this is the last one, the most recent game, Survey Scramble. This has a lot of game modes, so I would say with the amount of game modes it has, then yes, this is probably a very viable one for game show potential. Might not be the dynamic game it is, of the answers changing dynamically with people answering, but it will probably be more of a Family Feud, Family Fortune sort of show, but it's sort of like on a mega scale. And with all the different game modes, it could be like each episode has 3 different game modes. Whoever has the highest amount of points afterwards wins that episode of Survey Scramble. And that's the last one for this video. So maybe in the future I'm going to do I could do a video of them coming up with the intro sequences for some of these if they were game shows, even the ones I said no to. That could be fun. But if you don't agree with my choices, you can put in the comments what ones you don't agree with and what you think and of how they would work and how you think they wouldn't work. And if you want to come up with some interesting intro sequence like "Hello, welcome to this show," or "This is the show where you do this and this and this. This is this game," then you feel free to do that as well. And now I'm going to do the obligatory YouTube thing. Or if you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. It really does help up my self-esteem seeing the like go up, and it would be cool to see my subscriber number go up as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Do whatever you want. If you like the content and you want to stick around, be sure to do that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you later.